Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So how do most owners that you approach or that you're talking with, whether you approached them or not, um, what's their immediate response to getting an OA? Don't need one.
Yeah,
Got to.
I think there's two initial thoughts. One, I think most people like the idea of it, right? And there's a lot of great ideas out there, and this is one of them. They like this idea, but the first two things that come up are one, how much can I afford that on my payroll? Because it's an overhead position effectively, and two, how am I going to effectively get that person on board? Because I don't even know how I manage all this stuff. I don't want another thing to manage, which is another person that I've got to train and develop, and that's the challenge, right? And sometimes they've even had experience with, I had a personal assistant or I had a full-time assistant and it just didn't work out, right? Um, they they didn't know what they were doing. It was more time working with them than it was, not having them. I'm just done, right? So essentially, one, like I said earlier, they don't have to be in person with you every single day for most business owners. And it's even helpful to have them a little bit removed because then they're not in the office getting, prodded by other people for different tasks and whatnot. And so they're really just your assistant. And so you can treat them as such. Uh, but two, it opens up the geography. You don't need someone down the street. You can go anywhere in the world. And there's so much global talent out there that so many people are leveraging. I'm leveraging global talent. I have 4 full-time employees overseas. Um, and then others are leveraging as well across the industry and construction. You're finding estimators. We had Jacob Edmonds on from Duckworks on the podcast.
Yeah.
He helps you
More.
find a full-time employee that will do drafting and CAD drawings for you. Can't remember the city, Bolivia or the country. I think they're in Bolivia,
Wasn't it Ecuador? Well, Bolivia or Ecuador,
Ecuador,
one of the
Bolivia,
two.
wherever, South
Yeah.
America, right?
Yeah.
And it's a fraction of the cost of a, full-time employee in the US, right? So there's global talent out there that you can play, as little as $800 a month. I would say that's for very, you know, you know, lightweight admin work. Um, and you can find all-star employees that have master's degrees and are very technical and specific to your industry for 3, 4,000, where you might be paying the equivalent 6 figures. Um, in the US
Yeah.
annually, you're paying 3 or 4,000 a month to someone abroad. So I think that addresses the concern of how do I fit it into my, my budget. Is that
Budget.
you can find a great owner's assistant for $1,500 a month, right?
I
And
think there's one other thing that I've heard too. Maybe it's a little bit different, but owners are harried in that they're always doing something, but they say, I don't know what I'd have this person do. Literally,
yeah,
they go, I don't know what I'd have them do. And I know Tom Reber, whom we had on last year, he said, just get your assistant, give them your schedule and your calendar and go from there. But
yeah,
what do you
that's
say? I mean, what all can they do? Some specific, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, people listening to this might be thinking, and that same thing. I do a lot of things, but I don't know, you know, how's somebody going to take over my email? How are they going to take my phone calls? How are they going to
mhm.
take my schedule? They don't know where I am. How are they going to do all these things? Uh, and if you make it real for them, meaning Khalil, if with your experience, you talk about some places where people have gotten an OA and use them, and listeners go, oh, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. Well, I'll give some real examples, but I'll also say that everyone's unique and every owner has a different set of skills, strengths and weaknesses, things they enjoy doing and don't enjoy doing. The way that they run their business is different. It's different across the board, but I'll give some examples. Um, so worked with someone, and they one of their challenges was it was a simple challenge, but, they're doing multiple jobs a week. They've gotta get permits from the the city and the county for each job, and their geographic area served multiple counties and multiple cities. And so just going onto these websites and submitting the permits and paying for them, that's a administrative task, right? And their owner's assistant went and uh, basically made a directory of all the cities that they work in and got the link to the portal that you go and you fill out the permit, organized the portals for every city and every county and the login information for every single one, and created an SOP for how to log into each one, file the permit, what information is needed, where you gather the information and how much it costs, and then where the permit goes after that for every single one. Now, all that was already being done, but one, there wasn't an SOP around it. And two, it was eating into valuable time for the owner to actually be working on the project, right? So that's just one example. I already mentioned another one of our clients has their assistant create a CEO packet every single week, right? Where every single week they've got all the numbers they need to measure the health of their business, from marketing KPIs, sales KPIs, project management KPIs, financial KPIs. They're all inside this one packet. And their owner's assistant spends 2-3 hours gathering all this data from different tools and softwares they use, and from individuals that are heads of departments and inside their company, and puts them into this packet that's on their desk every Tuesday, right? So that's a valuable thing. But then you've got just the basics of answering phone calls, doing triage of emails, getting things on the calendar, making sure that things have, all of their calendars have agenda items on the calendar description, so that when they have a meeting with the customer, they know exactly what the agenda is. We have one uh, owner who they do a lot of sales, and they're going from job site to job site, getting measurements and giving proposals. Well, after every single sales call they do, they take 2-3 minutes and they record a quick video on their phone, and they just walk through the job site and talk about the scope of the project, details, the measurements, any notes that were meaningful to the client, any next steps and action items in that video. They hit record, then they send it via iMessage to their assistant, and then the assistant puts it into their CRM, gets the notes compiled and written down, puts the action items on the to-do list, gets the next meeting scheduled on the calendar, and uh, basically just runs, gets the quote from there sent over to the client. And all the owner had to do was take the video, and then they can go to the next job. So now they have more of their information organized. They are being more proactive with the client, getting quotes out faster, closing more deals. There's just a variety of things that stem from that one activity that changed all of that. Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, it might be there, it might be over my face, I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.